Let's get back on camera, whoever is on camera. And hey, folks, welcome to the celebration of the Plotly Analytics Vibe-a-Thon. I'm going to give 1 to 2 minutes for the rest of our audience members to join us on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on X. We're live streaming this. So let's give it 2 more minutes and we'll get started. Hey, Alonso, you can hear me okay?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, good. Great. You have the headsets. I see you're all sharing your app, so that's great. I'm just going to turn off any notifications I might get. Okay, this should be fine. All right, folks, maybe I can share this webinar screen in the meantime. The hackathon screen, sorry. So people know what we are going to do today. Share screen. All right, folks. So we'll officially start in about 1 minute, but I do want to share with you that today, for those who are joining us that were not part of the Plotly Analytics Vibe-a-Thon, but know us and follow us Plotly on YouTube or X on LinkedIn. Today, we're going to be talking about the Plotly Analytics Vibe-a-Thon that went on for about 3 weeks with a bunch of prizes. We had almost 1,500 participants and over 200 submissions. So we're pretty excited about that. At any point, you can just go to DevPost. You can just go to DevPost and look for Plotly. It's DevPost is devpost.com, and you will see this landing page, and then you can go to the project gallery. And in the project gallery, you'll see all the apps that were submitted. There's like 6 pages here. So the apps that we're going to talk about today should all be in this project gallery. All right, let me stop sharing screen. We can get started. It's 2 minutes after. 1 second. Stop share. There we go. Close this. Okay. So, welcome everybody, and thank you everyone for joining us to celebrate the Plotly Analytics Vibe-a-Thon winners. Over the last 3 weeks, more than 200 participants from 35 different countries submitted their Plotly Studio apps. And to be honest, they were absolutely amazing. Some of our participants used the pre-selected dataset on the OECD well-being dataset, while others, that you will see here today as well, used their own interesting datasets on topics ranging from Formula One to football to education to gender parity and climate change, and many, many more. Now, the judges, the Plotly judges and the community judges, took a long time to review everyone's apps, and I must say that they were impressed by the submissions and the high quality of the apps that people submitted. You've all made it crystal clear how Plotly Studio can transform data into stunning apps with little to almost no code. If I'm not mistaken, the great majority of participants here actually just used English without the help of external LLMs or anything else to build their Plotly Studio app directly in Plotly Studio. So joining us today, we have several of the Vibe-a-Thon winners and honorable mentions. We also have with us one of the judges, Sam, who will share his thoughts, especially at the beginning of the live stream. Another judge, Martin, might join us as well, if he can get out of his meeting in time to be here with us. I hope so. Now, over the next 30 minutes, I'd like, maybe even 45 minutes, I'd like to give our panel of winners the opportunity to showcase the apps to everyone watching us today. But first, I'd like to officially announce the winners. Let's see here if I need to add any. Oh, Martin just joined us. Hey, Martin.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Martina, I'm going to announce the winners, and then we're going to have the authors and the winners actually showcase their app. So feel free to interject or ask questions whenever you want. Cool. All right. So first, we have 6 honorable mentions. These are apps that didn't make the top 3 app winners, but stood out among all the other apps. There were supposed to be 5 honorable mentions, but we actually have 6 because there was a tie between 5th and 6th place. So we have Darlene, who created Eco Plus. And if there's time at the end, I'm going to show you some of these apps because not all the honorable mentions were able to be here today with us. So I'll either share the link and or show you the app live by sharing my screen. So Darlene created the Eco Plus app. Sagar created the Psychology of Banking that we'll see today. Esther created the e-commerce sales analytics app. Ariane created the Formula One racing analytics app. Talha created the Smart and Secure Schools in India. And Deepa created the Charting Gender Parity. Deepa might be joining us today as well. And Talha will present their app with us today here as well. Then, coming in 3rd place as the most voted app by the community, we have Pranav with the Football Post-Recovery Analytics. Pranav, congratulations. In 2nd place, we have Tatiana with the app on femicide in Bolivia, from news to narrative. Congratulations, Tatiana. I love that app title. It's pretty unique, pretty smart. And as 1st place, we have Alonso for the app on OECD Pension Explorer. Congratulations, Alonso. So before we get started with I'm going to start with Sagar to showcase his app. Let me see, I got a message here. Make sure I didn't see anything. Thank you, Martin. I'd like to give since Sam cannot stay with us the whole session, I'd like to give the podium to Sam, who is one of our judges, to share a little bit, Sam, of your thoughts. I know that you reviewed many of the apps. Maybe you can share a little bit about your experience.
Yeah, totally. Well, thanks for the introduction, Adam, and congratulations to all the winners. I really did enjoy looking at all the apps people made, and it's really awesome to see so much interest with the studio being launched so recently. Yeah, I mean, a lot of really cool data sets were explored amongst these applications, which was really nice. Some of my favorites were ones where they really told a story with the data rather than just saying, here's the data. They said things like, okay, here's the data, but here's what you can take from the data. And here's, like an actionable takeaway from, the insights in this data. So some of the apps, including some of the apps from the winners, I felt like really did that extra step of telling the user why they should care about what they were seeing. But yeah, I mean, everyone who submitted did a great job, and it was really a pleasure judging them all. So thanks again for selecting me to be a judge for this, and congrats again to all of our winners.
Sam, do you recall if there was one particular graph or chart that you're like, oh wow, this is unique. I wouldn't have thought about using this kind of chart.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So I mean, I guess one thing that sticks in my mind is in one of the applications, they actually had like a carousel, so they could click through and show different images associated with the data, which is, I mean, not necessarily something that you never see on the internet, but it was certainly something I'd never seen in Plotly Studio before. So yeah, the user who created that, I was very impressed by that because not something you always see. And I guess one other thing I want to highlight is there was one app that really stood out to me where the user, inside of each chart, they, had like statements about, okay, here's how to read this chart. And, also here's maybe what your takeaway should be from this chart. And that really stood out to me as well. Because, if you're sort of, looking at it quickly, you don't have to think too much to understand like what you might, you should take away from that data. So those are two of the things that stay in my mind.
Cool. Thank you, Sam. Sam, you got a hi, Sam, from LinkedIn, Fahim Bagujar.
Oh, hey, Fahim.
Hi to you. Hey, Fahim. All right. Martin, I know I want to give you the opportunity as well, Martin, for saying a few words, or since you just joined us, if you want to just interject or ask questions throughout, if you prefer to do that, you can do that instead.
Yeah, just I maybe want to appreciate the quality of the applications. Also, I was impressed how much is possible doing without the line of code. I think every application was very awesome. And I remember when I was starting with data analytics years ago, it took me weeks to months to get to this quality of the apps. So it's really awesome that you can do this now, like with just few lines of words. And I think I believe that like the biggest difference between the applications was the maybe the idea. So it really shows up when you have a good idea, a good sense what you are analyzing and the story you want to tell. So I think this was the biggest difference between the applications.
Thank you, Martin. Um, and then we have Tatiana. I'm just going to say that I don't know the name, but somebody was giving you congratulations. Bravo, Tatiana. Joseline Nasrat Tapiana on YouTube. Hopefully, that's a friend of yours. Bravo, bravo, Tatiana. They were saying. All right. So, thank you for your kind words, Martin and Sam. I want to give the stage to Sagar. Sagar, I'd like to start with you and the app on the psychology of banking. Can you please share a little bit with our community the story behind your app and give us a demo of it? Let me share your screen. One sec, Sagar. There we go. I added your screen to stage. Okay, we see your screen.
Yep, sure, Adam. So, hello everyone. Imagine you are a bank spending millions on marketing campaigns and making thousands of phone calls, yet only like 11% of customers say yes. That's not just efficient, but that's a $1 billion problem across the banking industry. So, that's why I chose this particular data set where I chose the UCI bank marketing dataset because it represents the real challenge banks faced during the economical crisis of 2008 to 2010. This is not just a data, it's like 45,000 actual customers, each telling a story about financial decisions making under economic pressure. Also, it's imbalanced dataset which replicates majority of the real world problems. Also, I titled my project as the psychology of banking because I wanted to go beyond demographics and understand that why the customer behavior is so. What I loved most about building this in Plotly Studio was discovering insights which I never expected. Let me show you what I mean. So when I initially loaded the data, I saw job titles and education levels. Boring, right? But as soon as I select tertiary with all the jobs, we can see that management plus tertiary is like a good potential sector which have a high subscription result of the bank loan. So they are like a potential customer. But as soon as I convert my count view to the percentage view, we can see that a student plus tertiary who was a very low target area suddenly stood out with a high subscription rate of loans. So that was a very pretty good insight. Now, let me show you my favorite chart, the campaign effectiveness intelligent dashboard. This chart answers the $1 million question. When does persistence become pestering or annoying? So, if we look at the contact frequency threshold, if we increase 1 to 3, so that definitely tells that when we call any customer 3 times, the conversion ratio is almost similar to one call. But as soon as we start calling customer more than 5 times, the green line usually drops from the number of calls which were called earlier, which shows that 3 calls are sufficient to get the customer converted. So
And
from a
Sagar, from
yeah.
your experience, why is that the case? Do you know?
So basically, in a customer psychology, most of the customers have already predetermined mindset that whether they want to take the loan or they don't want to take the loan. So they are just looking for few follow-up questions, which are usually get cleared within 2 to 3 calls.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's pretty
So
cool that you can actually prove that here with your line
mhm.
chart.
Yes, that is a like really amazing analysis.
Yeah.
So, like in continuation to that, from a technical standpoint, I leverage several advanced Plotly features that showcase the platform power, which include the cross-filter interactions, multiple visualization types, the real-time KPI cards, which we can see here, and then we have gradient styling for a better visualization, So this is what I love about data storytelling with Plotly Studio. It does not just show numbers, it reveals the human behavior and drives decision. Also, there is one interesting part in the dashboard, which is the data part. So usually business teams need more visualization. So there is always a good view to add the data table so that they can export the data and can do their manual analysis also over on top of our insights. So the project which I showed you is like 45,000 rows of data into a strategic advantages and how banks can use these insights to just not make calls but make smarter calls. So yeah, thank you all.
And I know I have a few questions, so let's
Mm-hmm.
leave these screen shared.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but if any of our participants here that are watching us, Alonso, Tatiana, anybody else, if you have any questions or any comments or feedback to Sagar, please feel free, or questions about a graph. And anybody watching us live as well from YouTube, X, LinkedIn, if you have any comments or questions, please let me know and I'll try to address them live here. Let's see. If you can scroll down a little bit, Sagar.
Sure.
How did you make Plotly Studio? Because this is fairly, I've seen this before, but it's not as common to do such advanced customized theming with the gradient color that you have there, campaign effectiveness, and the little emoji. How did you accomplish all that?
Okay, so I also took few other LLMs help also. So initially, Plotly gave me a starting point that what my chart should look like, what is the storyline I should carry forward, and then I continued that Plotly insights. Then I also have my past experience with data visualization in Python, so I used my past skills also to kind of mix and match what Plotly gave me and what I have in my mind. So that's how I created all these things.
Wow, yeah, that's impressive. So we're just working with the prompt back and forth.
Yeah.
Very nice. And I have one last question. If you go down to the other graph, oh yeah, that can you repeat again what we're with the scatter plot? What are we seeing here?
Okay, so this is the comparison to see what the customer age relates to the account balance, what customers have, and how they subscribe to the loan. So we have like around 45,000 customers. So we can see that what are the different marital status they have. So we can see what is the age group we have in those particular marital status and how we can target those customers. So for example, if any customer is married and they have like age above 50, so we have like, even though if they have a high account balance, they will not subscribe to our loan because there is an assumption that they probably have a past loan for which they are already paying EMI. So they are not our potential customers. But our potential customers are people who are recently married and they have like a decent account balance. So those are our potential customers.
Oh, interesting. Wow, these kind of gaps give you a lot of information for your bank and your loan approval potentially. Really nice. Sagar,
Yeah.
Michael, one of our community members, says
Mhm.
great app on banking. Really like the presentation. Nice job, Sagar.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Perfect. Sagar, thank you so much for your presentations and congratulations again.
Thank you, my pleasure.
All right, next I'm going to, Sagar, you can stop sharing screen if you want.
Yeah.
And next I'm going to go to Talha. Talha, who created the smart and secure schools in India. Talha, the stage is yours. Let me just share your screen. 1 second. At the stage. One feature, I have another comment, Talha, before. I think this was for Sagar. One feature I loved while building in Plotly Studio. Oh, that's a feature that should be improved. Okay, I have to answer that later. All right, Talha, the stage is yours.
Hi everyone. My project is called Smart and Secure Schools India. Basically, for this project, I use different datasets from the official website of Government of India, and I merged them, and then I made some graph which I will show you later. So, why I choose this topic is because I wanted to visualize data to the stakeholders, the decision makers to help improve these improve the equipment in the schools, for example the digital libraries and the different facilities in the school. So let's start with the first graph. This is basically a geographic distribution of schools, and uh, this graph shows the average schools in each state of the India. So uh, the bigger the circle, it means it have more number of school in that state.
And so
So
that's
if
Talha, that's probably like a correlation between population size of region and school size.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
uh, if we scroll down, we have the infrastructure details about each state. uh, we have the physical infrastructure and we have digital access. So basically these graphs are telling us which state have more physical infrastructure and digital access. So the top one is the Tamil Nadu and then Odisha. If we check the digital access, we have digital library, electricity, computer facility, and internet facilities in
Nice.
different states of the India. So if we look at the right side, we have school sanitation infrastructure heat map. Uh, we can select the top best state which have school sanitation infrastructure, and these are the top five state which have best sanitation infrastructure. And then we have uh, five worst states. If we scroll down, we have the violin graph. Basically, it help us to check which population of women have high literacy rate. So if we look at this graph, we have high literacy rate of the women in the 80% population. On the right, we have harmful substance use by the gender wise in each state. So in top we have Mizoram, we have uh, male, we have men.
Tobacco, the usage of
Yeah,
tobacco.
yeah,
Okay.
tobacco. Uh, we also have the alcohol data set data for the different state wise use by the population, and these are the top five consumer of the alcohol in different states. If we scroll down, we have the we have relationship.
Sorry, Talha.
Hmm.
Even before you go, if I have a question from the four graphs you just showed us, did any of this when you created this and you saw the visualization and the results, did any of these graphs or information provided to you surprise you? Did anything stand out?
Yeah, yeah. For example, if we look at the digital access in the Tamil Nadu, uh, we have high, we have a large number of facilities in this state. It means they have high literacy rate. So this is
Uh,
what it tells us.
okay. Okay.
So we have this graph. It is basically underreserved areas. We have the electric and health insurance coverage by the state. On the right side, we have digital readiness by the state. So basically, uh, for this, I use different variables like digital library, internet, school facilities. So if we scroll down, we can also highlight the states which are lacking in terms of infrastructures like digital access, the overall internet facilities, drinking water, hand washing facilities. So bigger is the circle, it means the more severe the issue is.
But this means, Talha, that there's when you. How did you define urgent action is needed under a certain? Is it under a certain percentage?
Yeah, for that I use different variables and I merge them using the percentage.
Okay.
For let's say we go there here. If we look at this state, uh, I gave it 0.3 percentage weightage in overall data in overall
Yeah.
map like this.
Okay. Okay.
Then we have technology readiness score. This is my favorite graph in the whole dashboard. It basically tell us which state have the best facilities, including the digital libraries, hand wash facilities, and everything. So we have the best state is the Tamil Nadu, and the worst is the Meghalaya and Bihar. If we can also check different states like this. Let me know if you have any question.
Talha, some comments. First, Michael says that he would love to share this app link with his friends in Telangana. So Michael, I'll share this app in a second via the link, and he liked your alcohol graph as well, Talha. And then I think we had a question for the previous app, but this is also relevant for this presentation, Talha. Is there one? Can you share? This is by Krishna Kumar from YouTube. Can you share one feature that that you loved while building Plotly Studio?
Yes, I love this slider. If we select different state, it just go from 0 to different values. I like this slider like this.
Cool. Now, was this graph something that Plotly Studio created immediately, or by default, or you had to add it later?
No, I just have to tell it the make the graph like this slider and the change color something like that. I just have to add it in the prompt.
Very nice. Very nice. Any other questions here by our members watching? Let me
Yeah,
see.
I just want to mention that I find interesting the tobacco graph, the difference between women and men. I think it's really big across the states.
Yeah, it's true.
Mhm. Yep.
Se- in Mizoram, over 70% of men report using smoking tobacco. Wow, that's a lot. What interests me is two things. One, Talha, Alonso, thank you for your comment. In this graph, for example, is to see, this is a great graph. Another way to look at it is to see what's the biggest difference between, in which state has the biggest difference between men and women in tobacco, for example. So here we can see general usage, 70% in Mizoram, 60 something for women, 70 something for men, and so on, which is cool. But in addition to that, if we can see like the biggest gap, which I think would be all the way down in Himachal Pradesh, or maybe in the last one, where you have like 13% women and like men, sorry, and like 1 or 2% women. Now that's a big gap. Like smoking is popular in that state, but definitely a lot more for men than for women. While the first state is pretty much similar between men and women, the gap isn't that different. Another thing I wanted to ask you, Talha, if you go up a little bit, Um, where was it? The digital. Oh, do you think? I don't know if I missed the graph, or maybe it's not here, but literacy rates. Did you find a strong correlation between literacy rates and alcohol use or tobacco or infrastructure and digital access?
Yeah, yes, I uh, find correlation between the digital access and the literacy rate, because see, if we are in the internet era, and
Yeah.
we should have the digital libraries and internet facilities so we can access information easily. So yeah, I think yes, there is a correlation between them.
Cool. Great. Talha, thank you so much for your presentation. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You can stop sharing your screen, and I'm going to move on to um we have one second. Deepa's not here yet. Talha. All right, Pranav, you were the community's favorite app. Can you please share why you chose Football Post Recovery Analytics and what you like about your app?
Hi. First of all, thank you to Adam and the whole Plotly team for giving me the opportunity to present today. And so I'll just dive into why I chose this topic and why I think it is relevant to my line of work. So I have been in the sports data analytics industry for the past 3 to 4 years. I have helped teams, I've helped analysts, I've helped scouts with their personal projects as well as sometimes for a bit more professional projects. So, one of the things that we tackled around 2 years back was analyzing how players behaved after they had just won the ball from their opponent, which is basically what post recovery means. Recovery in football, soccer sense is uh, whenever a player wins the ball from an opponent team. So one of the problems that we faced around 2 years back was using the data that was available to us and use it to see how a player behaves after they have just won the ball, whether they like to keep it at their feet, go forward, move backwards, whether they pass it forwards, whether they pass it backwards, whether they are a bit, let's say, uh, incisive, or let's say if they are progressive in nature, or they just have an eye for a pass right after winning the ball, or whether they just like to recycle, they are cautious with their style. So that is why I chose this data set. I This data set is actually a result of around a year's work in this specific topic. It is made up of, it is basically a short and a trimmed version of an event data set that consists of every single event that happened during the season of football in the top five leagues in Europe, which are English, Spanish, Italian, and France, and which was the fifth one? I forgot the fifth one, but like the top five leagues. So it consisted of 2.6 million uh, rows of every single event that happened on the pitch. So I had to trim it down because we had a 75 MB limit. So I had to trim it down. I have already constructed a pipeline for this, which converts every single bit of the event data into simple aggregates for each player that played that season. Uh, Basically counting, averaging, dividing everything, calculating the percentages. So I could just create a very small data set, a very small Parquet file, which I would use for my analysis here. So now I just dive into the app. I'll show you around, and also thank you to everyone in the community who voted for the app and helped me win this. So the first is the filter section, which is what filter you want. So how this helps, I have created similar apps using different softwares, which are used currently by a lot of people, even including some people who work for clubs, some scouts. So Plotly, one of the best things that Plotly Studio allowed me was this filter feature, I would say. It just allows the person, whenever they enter the screen, to just have their filters set. So let's say you are scouting a player who is, I'd say, under 27 age. So I'll just set it to 16 to 27, and we want to just look at specific players. So I'll just keep the data for both the seasons right now, and I'm keeping it for all the leagues, all the teams, and all the. Let's say we only choose the center midfielders and the defensive midfielders, and we remove all. So we have a very good filter system that allows us to filter down players across seasons and see their performance accordingly. And these cards, they are just amazing in just showing you an overview of the data set. Like we do in Python, we look at the entire shape of the data set and all the information. So this just simplifies it, gives us all the information we need in simple, crisp cards. And I'll just start off by explaining the first one, which is a simple scatter plot. You can size by different things, be post recovery passes, post recovery carries, as well as total recoveries, and you can filter by position. And already it is filtered by the center midfielders and the defensive midfielders, so we don't really need to use it. But I added it so, let's say, if a person is using that specific graph or only looking at it, and they have not looked at the filters above, they can filter accordingly. So the scatter plot, it just shows us the number of progressive carries, which is basically any carry that moved the ball 15 or 25% upwards the field, and per recovery, basically every time they won the ball, which is just a percentage of how many times they progressively carried the ball or how many times they progressively passed the ball. These events are also an overlap of, let's say, someone progressively carried the ball as well as progressively passed it, so it gets counted twice for them. And one of the best things which I have loved about Plotly, I first used Plotly around 2.5, 3 years back when I just made some basic graphs and I put it on my Plotly account just to share it with the community and share it with the people who follow me on Twitter. So it was basically just to allow people to look at the players they want to look at. The zoom in feature would obviously be my favorite because it just gives you so much more control over scatter plots, which are usually considered a bit boring in the sense like they get a bit too scattered, where there are a lot of names or a lot of scatter points, and people cannot read it perfectly or properly. So the zoom in feature is probably my favorite. And
Pranav, I just wanted to let you know I love the scatter plot. I just wanted to also let you know that you have 2 minutes.
Okay. And next is a simple bar graph which shows you the progressive carries made by the player, the progressive carries per 90, and the percentage, which is basically the y-axis on a scatter plot of the carries. And you can also see the top 20, top 25 accordingly. You can just download the plot or take a screenshot. I prefer to keep it top 10 or top 15. And the next graph, which is basically a accuracy distribution, a basic distribution graph. It just shows you the number of players and their passing accuracy, how much they retain the ball, how much they make mistakes on the ball. You can see there is a lot of concentration around the 83rd percent, which kind of goes along with my understanding as well as my experience as well. People tend to be fairly retentive and fairly uh, progressive with the ball. And the next one is just a basic overview, just to allow any person using the app to look at which team is at the top for making such recoveries, which team wins the ball back the most, which team does the most. One of my other favorite features is this simple clicking feature, which allows us to only see a league, multiple leagues, or just deselect a league. And I have also added a table which will allow a lot of people who are interested in the data to just go through the data. People interested in football to go through the players they want to look at their specific data, just sort it out with the sorting feature here. And yeah, and the next one would be just like our bar graph for progressive carries. We also have it for progressive passes and also for the overall passing accuracy in this sense. And
Nice. Very
the
nice.
next one, which is my feature, which is very popular in the sports domain, is looking at percentiles. So the player selected here is not really a midfielder. I'll just go and select a midfielder, and it would be from my team, the team I support, Liverpool. So you can look at the percentile rankings of the player you have selected. You can look at the raw, which is basically the total number instead of the per 90 feature. Per 90 is basically how many minutes they played divided by 90, because 90 minute is the overall time of a football match. That is how we calculate it here. And if you just make it for 90, you have a clear view as to how a player performs on average as well as their percentile rankings. As you can see, the player in question is really progressive after winning the ball, falls in the 89th percentile. And
Wow.
yeah, that would be it. The table at the end for more exploration.
That's impressive.
And yeah, that would
Pranav,
be my.
I have a community member. Michael is asking, first of all, saying great subject matter, great app, and a nice presentation. He was wondering again, what's the vertical line there in the scatter plot? What does that represent?
Okay, so the vertical and the horizontal lines are the median for those specific axes. So progressive
Okay,
passes per recovery, the line going upwards is the median value for that, and progressive carries per recovery, the line going horizontal is the value for that.
perfect, perfect. Pranav, really, this is a fascinating app. I'm sorry we don't have more time to give you because I do want to show other two apps, but the wealth of information here is incredible. The amount of graphs we put here, the amount of information you put in each graph, um, really makes it easy to understand without scrolling like for a whole minute. All the information that you want to convey. I especially like this last graph that you put, the overall performance infographics, because I have football soccer players that I'm interested in that I want to see their stats on, and in this graph you can do it with a lot of ease.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it. That was probably one of the features I really wanted to add, and not least colorization as well as the ease of use of Studio really helped me with this, because I knew I could just easily apply it as well as make it as eye catchy as well as informative as possible.
Awesome. Congrats, Pranav, and thank you for presenting your app.
Thank
All
you.
right. I'm going to move it to our second place winner, Tatiana, with the app on a very interesting topic, femicide in Bolivia, from news to narrative. Calling us directly from Bolivia, we have Tatiana.
Hello, everyone, and well, this is a big honor to be here. Well, I will tell you some context about this project. This project was born out of the need to make a serious issue more visible. Bolivia has one of the highest rates of violence against women in South America. So there is not a lot of information or reports about it. You can try to find information about femicide cases in legal institutions from Bolivia or international institutions, and you maybe won't be able to find reports with this detail. So I want to make a tool that turns news into a narrative dashboard so people can see the patterns that usually get lost in the headlines. And then I decided to create my own dataset. I started collecting the feminicide reports from Bolivia's newspaper. Then I apply some LLM models like Gemini and Gemma from Google to find key information of the aggressors, from the victims, and the crime context. Well, this was a very large process, but when I see the Vibe-a-Thon announcement from Plotly, I take this like a signal to make this project grow and create the dashboard to show the information that I was collecting. So, uh, Plotly Studio helped me a lot to make the project to take the project to the next step. And well, this is the result. This dashboard shows many interesting things, and well, the process to make it was not too hard, was very easy with the prompting. And the first try with the Plotly Studio, I only send the dataset and without instructions, only the data, and I wanted to know what is going to do Plotly Studio with my data. And the first graphs that it gave me were this scatter plot, and then I make some some suggestions with the prompting and to create a better graph. So this first graph, for example, show us the age of the victim and the aggressor, and this line in the middle is telling us that this is the expected moment in which the age of the aggressor and the victim are the same. But if we check the information here, we see that most of the aggressors has to tend to have the same age or are older than the victims. And something interesting about this is that each point is a crime registered in the news, and also each color shows us the relationship between the aggressor and the victim. So this was one of the graphics that I was able to generate by iterating the prompt. At the beginning, it doesn't have colors. It was a lot of points, and then I request, please, can you add the relationship with, or this field, this relationship, and it was getting better. So the
Nice.
process, yeah, the process was very easy. Then I can show you this other graph. That's at
Uh,
the beginning.
Tatiana, just a heads up, we have 3 minutes.
Okay, well, this other graph show us a bubble chart with relationships here, the relationships between the victim and the aggressor, and here are the motivations of the crime. So something very insightful here is that this column that is partner, this is this has very bubbles. So we here can see that the main motivation is jealousy. So here we can see also that many of the relationships are very near of the victim. There is few crimes that are committed by a stranger.
So it's
Well,
mostly like their partners or husband, wife, boyfriend that are the victim and the aggressor of the violence.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that shows a pattern
Yep.
of the crime. Then here is the map of Bolivia where you can find each of the crimes. And maybe someone can say why these crimes are clustered in these three places, but that is because these are the three main cities of Bolivia, so they have a lot of media coverage. The newspapers that I choose to collect informations are also in these three cities, and in the rest of Bolivia, there are cases, but the media coverage is less than in the main cities. But it doesn't mean that these crimes, doesn't occur in all the country. Well, uh, well, the last thing I will say is that you can find more graphics here, and also you can find the dataset at the end, and you can see that there is a lot of information that can still be that
Extracted.
can extracted and also be shown in this dashboard. I hope that with this opportunity to have 1 month extra for Plotly Studio, I will be able to make the dashboard multilingual. That is my next step. And also create more visualizations to show more things about the context of the crime, like this one that is, for example, the crime place and the weapon, and also other things that shows these patterns.
Yeah, this is potentially a Plotly Studio app that can be very beneficial for authorities in Bolivia, for community in general.
Yeah.
So I'd like to. Everybody here is going to receive an extra month of Plotly Studio, a free usage because of your great applications. Um, but Tatiana, if there's anything anywhere I can help, please let me know. We can try and make sure that this app can stay up. Maybe we can add it to one of our just shine more light on it. So let's stay in contact.
Okay, thank you so much. It's really helpful to hear that kind of uh, help. It will be nice to keep it alive.
Cool. Michael says this app and presentation is so inspiring, amazing work. Feel like this app needs to be shown to a much wider audience. Very nice. Sankey plots. And then we have Luis Giovanni said that's a beautiful presentation, Tatiana. And then we have also Joseline Anastapia, who said this work truly represents the reality faced by Bolivian women. So thank you for shedding light on such an important topic.
Thank you so much.
And
I hope that it helps anyone that wants to know about this type of crimes, and also the people that, well, this is very this is how I can say this. This is something that people in Bolivia knows, that there is in Bolivia a group of people that wants uh, to cancel the law of gender violence.
Mm,
Mm, they think that the law doesn't work. So I hope that people with this dashboard will be able to see that there is a pattern. So we need this law. We need
yeah,
this law.
especially to protect the women.
Yeah.
Alonso, you were going to say anything?
yeah, Tatiana, how did you manage to turn all the news into structured data?
Well, I first make a web scraper.
Okay.
Then I get all the information in the most raw possible in MongoDB.
Yeah.
And then I use prompt engineering with Gemma and Gemini from Google,
Okay.
and I consume the API from Gemini, and then I create a prompt for specific things. I have prompts, for example, for victims data, from aggressor data, from the crime context, from the. I have a lot of prompts to get specific information, and then I started to work with data normalization,
Yeah.
and I have to make a bribe search to find the correct terminology, and it also was very hard work because I am not the field of laws or crimes. I'm just a data scientist trying to find information and make dashboards. So I have to get the background for some friends that are in these fields, or are, that are lawyers or work with crimes, something like that, and get validation with that, and create a data dictionary to to match the results from Gemini
Yeah.
from Gemini and the correct results or terminology that it has to be used for this kind of information.
Thank you, Tatiana. I appreciate all your work. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It was a very nice competition, and I think that all the participants showed the power of Plotly Studio, that is very, very powerful.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. And last but not least, we have Alonso in first place with the app of talking about OECD Pension Explorer. Well, the OECD well-being. Alonso, the stage is yours.
Okay. So, first of all, thank you. Thank you all the Lovely Studio team, the Lovely team. And my goal with this app was to talk about the key facts about the pensions. And it is a pension explorer. And, and the main reason was to build an easy to see and compare Lovely app. And why this topic is because pensions touch every person and every budget. And I choose for this app, I choose OECD data because it's solid and comparable. Uh, Here, I'm not trying to predict the future of the pensions. I just wanted to get a clear view of the generosity of the governments, the cost of the pensions, and how is the equity between the two. So how was the process to build this up? First, I focused on the database. I merged only OECD sources because they have a standardization of the names. Uh, there was a work to get dictionary of names and dates. So I put the most of the effort was to get a clear database to give to Plotly Studio because I already knew that Plotly Studio was really easy to use. Uh, when I was using the early access of Plotly Studio, I knew that it was an easy to use application. So after I did all that data gathering and merged the databases because we use some demographics of the countries, we use the employment rate of countries, the sustainability, and some pension data. So I put all that information in a Parquet file. I give it to the Plotly Studio with a really big prompt telling how, what is the data about, what are the key findings I want to show, um, what is the what are the variables. I give it a really big dictionary of the variables and the names, so I won't get the raw name on the app. I was I immediately got the correct naming of the charts, the axis, everything, just with a really big prompt at the beginning. So let's see some of the charts, and then after I got the application, the first the raw version, I just started to touching some aesthetical aspect of the app.
Nice.
So the colors, the fonts,
Yeah.
the color palette. Yeah.
Alonso, just a
So
heads up, we have 3 minutes.
okay. So one of the I wanted to show in this app like a storytelling really guided. Like I want to hold the hands of the spectator and tell him, look at this. Okay, in this part you should look at this. So I made this so what cards. So to focus the view of the person that is watching the app, so he doesn't get confused with the information. Here, how much, this is one of the charts that I like. is how much does the pension each government is spending on as percentage of GDP. So we can hear like countries like Japan is more than is about 9%, and Chile, my country, is very low here, about 2.8%. And there are really big difference between countries. You can see, you can select the country, and another. Well, we can see here there are some difference. You can also select different dimensions where you can see the difference between countries. We're seeing the difference between Chile, Spain, New Zealand, and Canada. Um, but one that caught my attention that is how the countries are making reforms to get higher pension retirement ages. So they spend less, and because people are more get uh, can work into all their ages. So Turkey is adjusting the retirement age from 50 years to 64 years. Italy is also increasing the retirement age from 64 to 71.
So, Alonso, what do you mean by future age? The current age of retirement versus what the retirement will be in according to the law of the country in the future?
Yeah, in the future. After, because many the reforms, like the policy of each country are changing in, according to their laws. So Turkey has decided by law to change the 50 years into 64 years.
Wow.
And like they made a reform of their pension system, and they decided to increase that age.
Okay.
So that's what the future age is about.
Okay.
It shows the news, the new reforms until the year 2023. Um, so this is all planned as now. So countries that has no reform, they are at the same age.
Okay.
And here also, as I said, one of the really important part was the how the data was merged and gathered across different sources inside the OCD indicator. So I made a full note here about how the data is managed. So if someone wants to replicate this, can see this description.
Very nice. Especially because you give the people opportunity and other authors to learn in detail how you did this so they can actually do the same if they wanted.
Yeah.
And then you have the table at the very end, the dash AG grid.
Yeah. Here is the table. The table
Oh,
has
cool.
many missing values because some of the data is like how do you say when like it's a functional data. It's for only 1 year. Like
Oh, okay.
I don't know. They make an interview and it's not interview the word, but something they asked to the country in that year, like
Oh, like a
uh,
survey.
a survey. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. A census. Okay. Cool. All right. Alonso, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We're a little bit over time, but it was definitely worth it. This app is absolutely amazing. You did several unique features that you don't typically see, like the big note section. It's apparent you really took the time to not only build this app out, but also to help others replicate it. So thank you so much for your submissions and congratulations again.
Thank you.
Martin, I want to give you a final words if there's anything you would like to add. I know you judged all the apps and you took a nice amount of time reviewing them and looking them over. Um, is there any advice that you would give our participants today and our viewers?
Yes, thank you, Adam. I think we can all learn a lot from the applications shown up. I think the most important part you have to care when you are creating with Plotly Studio is to be really careful about the validity of the data that is shown there. I saw a lot of mistakes, maybe overlooks and this stuff. So be very careful when you are creating this. But if you can fix this and you can take care of this, I think like the biggest thing you or biggest difference in Alonso's app was the sections that guided us over the application. It was really nice and I really liked it. And maybe one final point is sometimes maybe less is more. So I don't think that the best dashboard is the dashboard with the most charts. It's the one with where the information is really clear and it can help us. So I congratulations to all the winners. I think all the apps were amazing and I hope that you will continue with Plotly Studio.
Thank you so much, Martin. I really appreciate it taking the time and coming joining us today. Thank you, everybody here. Just a few closing remarks. If you haven't done so, please go to the Plotly Analytics Vibe-a-Thon project gallery. It's one of the tabs to congratulate the winners and check out all the awesome app submissions. I'm going to actually put it here in our link here in one of the comments. I think it goes towards YouTube comments, and I'll add it to LinkedIn later. I also wanted to say that I would recommend you join Plotly on the community forum and on the Discord server, where we will announce future hackathons full of prizes and opportunities to continuously improve your database skills and get to know other people in the community. So please join us. Just Google Plotly forum or the Plotly Discord server, and I'll also add it to our comment section in YouTube on all social media. And last but not least, I'd like to invite you to our webinar on October 22nd, which is called Any App, Any Scale, the Plotly Publishing Playbook. Now, in this webinar, you're going to learn about strategic decision making, to how to understand when to choose SaaS publishing versus behind the firewall solutions based on things like data sensitivity, compliance requirements, and whether you're serving internal teams or external stakeholders. I'll add this link as well. Thank you everyone again for joining us, our judges, our participants, our viewers. If you missed this live session because you're at work or sleeping somewhere across the world, you can still watch it on LinkedIn, YouTube, or X because it has been recorded. Stay tuned for our next hackathon, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.